So Nvidia stock was up over 3.6% as I am recording today's episode, and after hours, the stock is also up about 0.6%. This is the best place you're going to find any great Nvidia news. And today, what I want to do is take a closer look at a conference event that Nvidia was at, where the company showcased a lot of great information about competition, about the Chinese market, their overall demand, and so much more. So let's take a closer look in today's episode.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
All right, so like I mentioned at the intro, on March 4th, NVIDIA was at Morgan Stanley's Technology, Media, and Telecommunication Conference. You can listen to the webcast, and I took a closer look at their overall transcript, and there was a lot of great information here, but I'm only going to, in my opinion, take a closer look at what really matters for the overall company right now. Tomorrow, the company is also going to be at another conference, which is going to be mainly focused in the healthcare market. Depending on the kind of information we see there, I might do another episode tomorrow discussing that keynote and that conference as well. But the most important one is going to happen on March 19th, which is less than 3 weeks away, GTC, where the company is going to showcase a lot of their new products. And we actually got a tease today of maybe something they might announce that got me pretty excited. All right, so the first thing we can see here from the CFO, she does mention that each year for approximately 10 to 20 years, spending has been normalized for data center capex, which is roughly $250 billion each year. And that has been relatively consistently. This last year, though, that actually increased for one of the first times in a very long period of time. And right now, historically, most of that capex has been going to traditional servers. So even if in the future, this is actually pretty interesting because even in the future, if we don't see much increase in capex, if the market is moving to accelerated computing, which is what Nvidia is doing, that can be very bullish for the overall stock. And they believe it's going to go more into the AI market as more important projects right now. And the most important thing for a lot of these cloud service providers and big tech giants is to be competitive on AI. And the only way you can really be competitive in AI solutions right now is by having some form of accelerating infrastructure. Now, a question from one of my favorite analysts, Joseph Moore, asked about, hey, look, you guys have talked about the H200, but there's other products that you haven't discussed, but during the earnings call, Jensen already mentioned that they will be sold out on those next generation products as well. And the question is like, how are you able to determine that if those products are not even announced yet? What are they seeing that maybe us as analysts or them as analysts are not seeing right now? And the CFO mentions that, hey, look, right now, even though most of these products are unannounced, they're big top customers that they've had that they've been working with for multiple years, some even over a decade. They do share a lot of transparency and information. So a lot of those customers already know either the specs, the power, the performance. Some of them are even sampling already the early products before they go into the market. So because of this transparency, they know from their big players what type of demand they're going to need and when and how much chips do they need within a certain timeline. So because of that transparency and working with these cloud service providers, they know that for their next generation of chips, they're already going to be sold out and going to be supply demand or supply constraint for numerous quarters. Before we go any further, I just want to say thank you all for the amazing support we are getting in this channel. We're closing into 40,000 subs. That is insane. So if you haven't and you are enjoying the content, make sure to hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button. Finally, if you want to support this channel a little bit more, check out my special offer at fool.com/Jose. Now back to today's episode. Then there was a great question talking about the transitioning into new products, right? NVIDIA last year released the H100. This next quarter, they're releasing the H200. In a few quarters from now, they're going to release the B100. And the few quarters after that, they're going to release the B200 to some extent. So how is NVIDIA so excited about releasing so many products? Isn't that going to make some conflict against their customers, right? Some of their customers might slow down purchasing as they might say, hey, look, no point in me buying this product right now when in a few quarters from now, I can have a better product. And the CFO mentioned one important thing. She says the thought that everybody has on an H100 right now is a laughable thing to some extent. Not only are there so many customers that don't even have the H100, other customers need to maintain their high performance and high total cost and low total cost of ownerships by adding new products. So even when they go into the B100, even when they go to the H200, there's still going to be so much demand for the H100. The superclusters that aren't finished with the H100 still need to be built out. And after that, you still have those that haven't even started yet. So it's not like the same people that have the H100 are also going to buy the B100. There might be some form of overlap there, but there's so many customers out there that a lot of them don't even have one of the products. So that overall can just be seen as a huge bullish case for Nvidia, as we can see there right now, even with while they are improving their supply chain issues, they're still not able to grab all their customers at once. And that's what these new products might be able to do. The CFO mentions that there's still a lot of different areas and unique demand where NVIDIA GPUs aren't even being used. Right now, industries that they have not touched are a huge growth potential as well. Right now, the ones that they're really into are the healthcare, the financial service, the automotive, and the manufacturing. But outside of that, there's a huge, vast opportunity in the enterprise market. We actually talked about that in an episode prior where Dell mentions that a lot of the AI is also going to go to on premise on the enterprise side. And it does seem like the CFO of NVIDIA also believes that. So that's another untapped market opportunity for NVIDIA to continue to sell their AI chips. There was a question talking about the export controls in China, and the CFO pretty much just mentioned, hey, look, we're working on it at the moment. And they continue to be in discussions with both the United States government and their Chinese customers to let them know what they're doing so there's no hiccups in future products. But the CFO also mentioned that it's not only their hardware that's competitive for the Chinese market, it's also NVIDIA's software solutions. So while they might be seeing some slowdown in their chips that they have to send over to China, because they have such a strong software ecosystem, it still allows them to provide kind of a nice competitive pressure against some of the other chips that are coming into China right now. Next, there was a question talking about the 40% of revenue coming from Inference right now, even though many believe we're still in early stages of the AI market. So could this be kind of like a bullish or bearish flag for Nvidia? And the CFO mentions that, hey, look, while obviously we are in the AI market in forms of large language models, Inference is also in other things like recommender engines. And recommender engines pretty much fuel everything right now, from all the ads you get hit, from all the social platforms you get hit. So that's why right now inferencing is already a big part of the total revenue that comes from these AI chips. And since generative AI is just starting, and obviously they already have this huge base of recommender engine, while this large language models and generative AI solutions continue to grow, they do believe the inference side also can continue to grow going forward. This was another great question that I thought investors should know about. Right now, we're hearing a lot of conferences from the big cloud server providers that one thing they're trying to do is reduce the cost per query as a major priority. And he wants to know, is this bearish for NVIDIA? Is this bullish for NVIDIA one way or another? And the CFO pretty much mentions that, hey, look, at the end of the day, it's not just the cost of the system, right? You might be paying $40,000 for a H100, but that's not the only cost. There's other costs that kind of happen with the total cost of ownership. So the use of NVIDIA from a system perspective, engineering use, software use, power use, is the most efficient form of inferencing solution that you can get. Next, we got a question about the $1 billion run rate on software and services, and what does that look like? The CFO mentions that the main product here is NVIDIA's AI enterprise solutions, but they're also doing pretty good with DGX Cloud. And they do mention that going forward, this is still a huge growth opportunity, as they are going to, for example, begin selling automotive software that they will be selling with their overall infrastructure solution. So there's two more points that I want to bring up, and I think that should be it for today's episode. The next question was a little bit about the competition in the market. The analyst feels like every week there's a new CPU, a new GPU, a new silicon that comes out from hyperscalers or startups, and then you have AMD and Intel in competition in this space. The CFO mentions that stepping back, at the end of the day, NVIDIA is not a chip company. They're a platform company, a platform company that's able to deliver any form of data center computing that you may have in terms of the future. And that's everything from creating a chip to software, networking, software solutions, the memory part. I don't know if I mentioned networking. So overall, they don't believe they have any true competition at the moment when it comes to AI accelerating computing platform. The other thing they see is, hey, look, they're going to see simple chips from time to time. I do believe this is taking shots at that Groq chip, which is the LPU. And they're saying, no problem. But always remember, a customer has to balance that at the overall total cost of using those things. And there's a lot of things, right? If you're going to just might buy servers for a chip that can only do one thing, are you really getting a total cost of ownership? If you might be paying a lot less upfront for the chip or for that system, but in the long term of things, how much are you paying off instead of just buying an H100 system that can do pretty much everything? So that's a very important thing, especially in the software ecosystem. NVIDIA is big with the software solution. So as a software developer, you have to know, is this a great use of your time? NVIDIA mentions with a lot of these startups, there's not much things that they can develop. And again, that goes with the total cost of ownerships. So it's not just the cost of the chips, it's the cost of the full total cost of ownerships for the system. And that's why NVIDIA doesn't really worry too much about the competition right now. The final thing I want to take a closer look at is there was a questions about edge computing, and what's the opportunity there. And this got me pretty excited for GTC. They mentioned that AV is going to be important, but one great thing that they have is they have a platform, their Jensen platform, which is for robotics. The CFO mentions that she believes it's a great thing to think through as we go through GTC in the next couple of weeks and our focus in terms on some of those. So I do believe during GTC event, we might see some pretty interesting and insane solutions for the overall robotics market, especially since Nvidia just became an investor of the Figure AI startup. So maybe we can see something there. Or the other thing is we might start to see some pretty insane solutions for the automotive market, as they do have a lot of solutions for the autonomous vehicle market. So overall, I do want to say those are all the main points we got from this conference event. There's a lot of other questions there, but I don't believe they have any true impact to the overall stock and the company. Like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Take care, have a good day, and see you next time.